What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2011 movie Paranormal Activity 3. So this movie is a prequel to both of the previous movies and follows Katie and Christy as children and stuff, and their dad Dennis is recording videos in their home of they're having like supernatural entities and stuff, and he's recording it and everything and playing it back to watch it and everything. And Christy has this imaginary friend named Toby, who we pretty much figure out is like the demon from the first two movies, but it has a pretty crazy twist at the end of the movie that kind of expands the lore of the first two movies and everything. I really enjoy this one quite a bit. It's a lot better on a rewatch, just like with the first movie, but it still, to me, is a big step down from 1 and 2. I still don't enjoy it near as much. It takes a little bit for it to get going, but once it gets going, it gets a lot better and everything. But like the first 20-30 minutes of the movie is kind of slow and everything, but I think it is a pretty good movie though, and I like that we kind of get a little bit of an origin story and see how things are playing out and everything, and how this movie connects to the first two. Works really well, and the cast in here are all pretty good. Most of them, I don't think I've seen pretty much any of them in other stuff that I know of. I mean, I could have seen some of them in other things, but most of them I didn't really recognize. But I think they were all really good in their roles. It made it feel authentic and stuff. And I love like how it's recorded on like these old video cameras and stuff, where it looks like it's like videos from like homemade videos and stuff. I think that's kind of cool too. And it has some really cool scenes where like the camera is set on this oscillating fan and everything. The guy took it apart to make it where the camera could go back and forth and everything, and it's really awesome and everything. There's this one really cool scene where the demon is in this sheet and stuff, looking like a ghost and stuff, and you see it in the front room, and then it turns and goes to the kitchen, and goes back to the front room, the demon's gone. It goes back to the kitchen, the demon and the ghost sheet is standing right behind the girl. She turns around and the sheet just falls on the floor. It's really great scene and everything. And there's also one where with the fan where the mom and stuff goes into the front room and she goes back into the kitchen. All the stuff has disappeared in the kitchen, and all of a sudden it just falls from the ceiling and everything. Both of those scenes are really great and everything. So I like some moments in this movie, and there were some pretty good little stories with the attachment that this demon had to Christy. A lot of stuff is starting to make sense in this franchise, stuff that you don't really have to have answers for, but it's kind of cool getting to learn it all over again, because I really didn't remember this movie at all, because I'd only seen it once when it came out 10 years ago. So getting to revisit this movie and stuff, I found a new love for it and everything, but I still say it's not one of my favorites in the franchise. It has a lot of fun moments, but there's just a lot of stuff in here that I feel could have been done better and everything. But for the most part, I think Paranormal Activity 2 is a pretty good sequel and everything. And the jump scare, it does still have a lot of jump scares, which is what this franchise mainly has, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me and stuff, like the intensity and stuff that they build up with these movies. It's still there in this one, although it is kind of starting to wear out and stuff, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of getting stale, but it still had its moments and stuff. Like, and there's like one part with this little fake jump scare where the babysitter just pops up in front of the camera and says "boo," and for some reason it totally took me off guard and made me jump really bad. Everything, I was like, dang it, why'd you have to do that? But yeah, so Paranormal Activity 3 is a really good sequel. It's not as good as, or prequel, I guess, technically. It's not as good as the first two, but it's still really good entry in this franchise and everything. It adds some cool history to the mythology of this series and everything, so I'd say I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's not one that I'd want to rewatch near as much because I don't find it as rewatchable, but it is still a fun movie, and it was way better than I remember. Just like with the first movie, I enjoyed it a lot more this time than I did the first time. It just isn't quite as good as those two. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Paranormal Activity 3, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.